Welcome to the Pulse, where we have a functional game lobby, and now we're ready to rock and roll with our first game of the day. All right, Mike, are you ready?
Yes, I hope so.
He hopes so. Andre is ready. The game has begun. It's going to be Gosu User and Greetorp on Newkirk Precinct, and we're talking about Zerg versus Zerg. I'm so excited. This is such a nostalgic moment for me because it feels like forever ago this is what I was doing every day. Just kind of talking to pros and going through builds. It's cool. Thank you, Mike, for getting me back to my roots. I owe you
Yeah,
one.
no problem.
He's getting all focused. He's getting all game face mode.
I have to win.
I know the feeling.
Oh, does he have those stupid Zerglings, though?
I don't know. I don't know.
I hope he doesn't have those. It makes it so much more difficult to play this matchup, because you can't tell how much you have compared to him.
That's a fair point. You know, I'm really hoping that Blizzard will implement like a beach tile set for Zerg. Like instead of creep, you get sand, and your overlords look like sunshine, and Ultralisk are giant lobsters.
That would be sick.
I think that would be awesome.
I think they might need to give the opponents like an ability to turn off skins if they did that, though.
I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's necessary at all. So this is Newkirk Precinct, Gosu User, two-player map, and I'm just going to follow your vision, actually, because I think that sounds pretty smart. You spawn down here on the left side of the screen. Talk to me about your opening. What are you going to do, and why is it good?
I'm going to 15 hatch. It's good because economically it's the best opening as long as he doesn't cheese me. I'm safe, so I think it should work. And I don't think he'll cheese me because this is a practice game. So.
He better not. If he does, I'm going to go back there and I'm going to smack him. I like to play 15 hatch as well, but I feel like the tin pool openings are getting so common these days. How do you feel holding tin pool with a 15 hatch?
Well, if he doesn't pull his drones, you can let him attack the hatchery until it's almost dead and then just cancel. And then that usually buys you enough time that you can defend in your main base. If he goes for the main initially, you just like micro the drones around until the pool is done, and that works out okay. The problem, well, I guess the problem is if he like pulls all the drones except for like 4, and then you just lose the game if you're 15 hatching. But usually people don't do that because it's completely all in.
Well, you're 15 hatches down. You're going 15 hatch without a drone scout. There was a time when people like Demaga said, hey, you must send a drone to scout around 8 or 9 supply because you just don't know if that early pool's coming. What do you feel about that? Do you think like the lack of scouting is offset by the better economy?
I think it's pointless to scout in this matchup because I think like a 15 pool with no scout is better than like a 15 hatch with a scout. So there's no point to scout and see what he's doing.
So your argument is
play the safe opening if I'm afraid of a cheese.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Well, that's cool to hear. All right, you got a pretty fast gas. So it was 15 hatch, 15 pool. Was that a 17 gas?
Maybe 17 or 16. I don't know. It's not that important. It plays out the same either way. Your speed timing might be a tiny bit off, but that doesn't matter that much unless you're going for a quick pressure. You should still have speed and banelings and time to defend.
Cool. So for anybody out there that's in Super Newbieville, when I say things like 15 hatch, 15 pool, 17 gas, I am, of course, referring to the supply counters that you can see up at the top of the screen. Some players like to, I guess, use the game timer as a benchmark for when to do certain things, but I think most high-level players prefer to use the supply counter as your sort of indicator for when to do certain things. Certainly the game timer is important for a multitude of reasons, but when it comes to just your build, I think in general you need to know, all right, when I have 1 base of saturation, that's when I do this new thing or whatever. Your baneling nest going down right around 30 supply. That's a pretty fast baneling nest, Mike. What's up with that?
Well, I take my gas a bit later. Usually when you go hatch first, you go like 16 gas and then pool after. But since I went like 16 pool and then gas and 17, I want to make sure it's in time if he does a quick pressure.
And you've opted not to build a spine crawler.
I don't think I need one. You should be able to defend anyway without a spine as long as you have a couple of lings to make banelings with.
So
and
your
I
logic,
made 4 lings,
your
2
logic
are
is
scouting and 2 are staying in my base.
Your logic is
so
I'm not
like
going to scout.
25 lings suddenly go speeding across the map, I can make banelings.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna take a third base.
You still haven't scouted.
Yeah, I'm scouting now. They just haven't got there yet.
Okay.
It's okay though, seriously. If he's cheesing, I just cancel, and I'm still ahead because I just make a couple banes to defend. And if he's not cheesing, like we see now, he has a lair, so that probably means mutas. And I'm gonna make some lings so I can put on some pressure.
Okay. I'm very eager to see how this works out because to me it looks like you're cutting some serious corners. You haven't really made any units. You do have a great economy.
Yeah, well, shit, he does have the stupid ling skin though. That'll make it more complicated. So one of the most important things I think for ZvZ is you need to keep injecting constantly. Like one inject can lose you games, and win you games, because you need to like have the most amount of units you can to cancel bases a lot of the time. And most ZvZ builds now rely on pressure. If you're going mutalist, before the mutalist you pressure, and if you're not, you want to pressure anyway. It's a bit more difficult when one player has the ling skin and the other one doesn't, as in this case, because it's hard to judge who's going to win the fights. But you can still do an okay job of it, I think. And because I want to cancel his third, I'm just going to make a ton of banelings here.
That is actually
and
a
now,
a
at my third
ton of
finish too, I'm going to build like 15 drones while I'm doing this attack. And I think I should be able to cancel his base. It's easier to attack here than defend a bit. And just try to micro split your bands a lot. And cancel the base without that much trouble.
Mission accomplished.
And now you just make sure that you don't make any micro errors. And now I have a third base that's a bit more than half saturated. And I have a lot more larvae than him right now. So if he's going mutas, I should be able to turn out a ton of lings and just keep his mutas at home while I build spores. And then hopefully my better economy should let me transition without that much difficulty.
I'm actually blown away at how fast you've taken this third base and how you've managed to get it saturated and moving so effortlessly. I'm eager to see. You still haven't even got your layer, man. How are you going to transition without layer?
Because if he's going mutalisk, which I know he is because I saw the quick layer, then I just pressure him with tons and tons of lings and banelings while building spores, and then I get a layer. You don't actually need that quick of a layer because spores are really good now against mutalisk. Now we see he has mutas, so I'm going to build 2 spores at each base and just keep building tons and tons of lings because he's investing a lot into mutalisk and all I'm investing into is lings minus a bit of money for the spores. And I can also start my layer now in the background.
Now, if anybody's wondering, he's doing this off of 45 drones. That's barely 2 bases of saturation, but he's only mining on 2 gases, so that's why he's got the strong mineral income that he does. And again,
only
we see these Zerglings.
And I'm going to cancel his third again when it was almost finished this time.
Did I say 2 gases? I'm sorry. It is just 1 gas.
So the saturation isn't that bad. I'm still getting, like I have like 14 to 15 at each base, and 16 is slightly undersaturated, but you still get pretty good income from 16 drones at a base. And like as you can see, it's difficult for him to take a third base while I'm doing this. I can even make it like a third spore now at each of my bases. The spores are so strong now against mutalisk early game, and because the mutalisk are attacking me, I can pressure again with all my Zerglings. And he's investing into 2 types of units, mutalisk and lings, and I'm just investing into like 1. So as long as I micro well and don't make any mistakes, which I almost did, but it's okay, then you can usually cause the player going mutas like a lot of difficulty at this point in the game.
Where are those banelings gonna go, man?
We can just see what you do with them, I guess. It's not that important.
Doesn't really matter. It's just throw stuff at him.
Yeah. And then back at home now, I'm getting my gases, still building tons of lings. I'm even gonna make like 4 to 5 spores now at each base because like he has a lot of mutas at this point. And even though spores are good, if you have 2 or 3, he can still take them out once he has a pretty good mutaflock. And now I'm gonna go Infestor, Roach, and Hydra.
You just everything at once. Why not?
Yeah. He's trying to be aggressive with Ling Baneling. That's a good choice, I think. I should have actually made like 1 or 2 spines too. But I think I can still defend it and maybe counterattack a bit. Just keep him distracted while I get some more defenses up.
Okay. Definitely haven't skimped on the spore crawlers. Looks like 4 to 5 spores per base, which would keep those mutas at bay. And
yeah, and that's mostly the point. Because like his third we can see has like no drones at it, that I'm pretty sure my economy is better than his right now. And now I just start the attack for infestors and roaches back at home while continuing to pressure as much as I can. I have some lings and banelings now at my third to defend too. And I'm doing a run by in his main with some lings. We're gonna hide a couple and make some banelings in his main base too. I'm actually gonna make a lot of banelings.
by a couple you mean 8?
Yeah. And just try to micro so you're trading pretty efficiently against banelings always in this matchup. It's one of the most important things. Because it's hard to get better at it if you have bad macro, or bad micro I mean, with the banelings and lings. Because it's hard to like improve as much when you're not sure if you're losing because of your micro or because your builds are bad. And we're getting some drones, and in the background now I'm starting some infestors too. Oh! And we just killed a ton of drones. So now I have a huge lead in this game. He shouldn't be able to kill me. He can put on some pressure, but I have a lot of spores, and all I have to do is micro well, I think.
A little bit of transfuse action as you try to come up. Good control by Greetor picking off your banelings.
Yeah, and my macro's been a bit off. I'm not used to talking too much when I play, but now I have roaches coming out too. He might kill some drones, but now that my infestors are coming out, I think I can deal with these mutas a bit better. I might have some issues defending my main just because of my play not being as perfect as it should be. But well, I'm gonna go on the counterattack at this point, because he invested a lot into that. I think I can probably do some damage, and I'll take a 4th too just because I have a lot of money. And I think with this I can equalize what he's doing now to my main base.
Yeah, undefended third. And it looks like he has pulled back.
Yeah, and let's build some spores in my main while I'm doing this attack. His third is dead for sure. There's no way he can defend this with what he has. And I can maybe even damage his natural a bit too. And then I think I should have this game. Obviously I took a bunch of damage, but he's taken a lot too. Let's try to split up my forces a bit. Pull off like couple lings in the main, make some hidden banelings. Just distract him as much as I can while I rebuild some workers. And my infestors are getting energy now too. I don't know where my hydras are here. That was a mistake.
Well, they really wanted to kill that extractor.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a big deal. But as long as I can make some more, I should be fine. Let's also just throw down some spines to be completely sure. My infestors have a couple fungals though. I have 2, 4, 5 fungals. So, and I mean I have a lot of spores too, and a spine at my third now. And now as long as I don't need my 4th, I'm gonna cancel that because I killed his third, so there's no point. And all I need to do now is build like hydras, and then once I have like a good hydra count, make some roaches too. No. It is harder to fungal. I'm gonna fungal these lings actually, because once I defend the main, now his mutas have to dive on top of a bunch of spores to do damage. Yeah. And once these like couple lings are dead, he can't actually break the spores count I have now. I think I can snipe maybe like 2 or 3 mutas, yeah. And now, I don't think he can kill me anymore. So I've kind of stabilized. I lost like a bunch of drones in my main, and my natural's undersaturated, but that's not that hard to fix. And now I think my defense is solid.
I think the biggest thing that speaks to me is the amount that you invested in static defenses, man. You made so many spores and even spines.
Yeah, you make less or more depending on how much damage you do. Usually you can do a lot with this because you have so much more production than him on 3 bases, and he has on 2, especially since he's getting mutas at the same time, that you can usually cancel the third. or do damage to the natural, one or the other. And then, just because of your quicker 3-base saturation, you can afford a lot of static defense to deal with the mutas. And the spores are actually so strong against mutalist now. The problem usually with mutas is that you get locked down to 2-base for too long, and then you're just too far behind to transition.
So is the big key here the fast third?
Yeah. If you take a slow third, it's a lot more difficult to defend it. If you take a fast third like I did this game, then, I mean, you have the static defense, you have more production, so you can put in pressure. And then you can just, behind the pressure, you can drone up your third, and then you're in a good spot. Like, he's doing damage with the mutas, but I don't really need the evolution chamber that much. I'm getting a couple more infestors now, and I have a lot of hydras. So all I need to do is build a big Roach Hydra Infestor army. He has a lot of Mutalisk, and they'll kind of suck once I have a good Roach Hydra Infestor army. And even though he can snipe some Extractors, the Mutalisks are still going to kind of suck later in the game.
How many Hydras do you feel like you really need to be able to engage the number of mutas that you're seeing out of him?
Maybe like 20 would be a good number. Lesser if I have more Infestors, but I only have a couple now. So I think about 20 would be good before I need to push out, but I'm not pushing out that soon. Usually it's the Mutalisk player who's going to be aggressive against the Roach Hydra Infestor player, because they'll transition to Roaches first, their Infestors are later, so they have a lot of options to be aggressive, and I can't really move out until I have a big Roach Hydra Infestor ball. But it's not that big of a deal because my advantage I get from having the quicker third should work out pretty well for me. I'm going to move out a bit now, because now I think I have enough Hydras and a lot of Fungals. Maybe I can even catch them.
Ooh.
Almost. I don't actually know how much I have he has, so this is kind of dangerous, but you can usually escape with Fungals if you need to. And just poke ahead with a couple, so you don't get caught completely off guard. I just see Lings and Mutas. You might have a lot of bird banelings. That's kind of cute, but it's not actually all that effective, I don't think. My Hydra count is a bit low, but if I can chain fungal the Mutas, maybe make some infested turns, I'm at least going to kill this base and do some damage. He might have a fourth, and then behind this I'm just going to make more Roaches and Hydras and Infestors. I still kept 2 of my Infestors alive, I think. And yeah, there's no fourth base, so now I'm in pretty much an unlosable spot, I think. I can just try to do what damage I can and then make more of the same units, just stay in a 3-base economy. And a 2-base Muta player at this point can't win against a 3-base Roach Hydra Infestor player. Especially with the static defense I have. And his man's almost mined out too, so... This game is kind of in the bag, I think.
Yeah. Well, he still has that big Mutaball flying around. I guess you have to ultimately answer to that.
Ultimately, but I still have pretty good mineral counts left in my bases. They're kind of mining out, but I mean, I still have enough money to probably hit max, at least 170, 180 before I'm mined out. And he has like no income now. He can't exactly kill me with the mutas because I still have all my static defenses. He can maybe do a bit of damage, but killing drones doesn't matter that much now because I'm mining out anyway. And I don't care if you trade mutas for spores. You actually lose mutas now against spores if there's a decent number. And like, even if he kills these drones in the main, it's not that big of a deal because the main's kind of mining out anyway. And he lost a bunch of his mutas. I'm not sure how many. At least like 5 or 6, I think, maybe more. To do that, and I'm just going to transfer a couple from my main back, take a fourth, and just keep adding in more and more infestors now because I have so much gas compared to mineral. And I don't know why he's still boning mutas. He should have to transition at some point, because what he did before with the bird banlings isn't going to work twice. I'll have an overseer next time.
Right.
Should have moved some spores to my main, but it's not that important because I'm not going to rebuild that many drones anymore. Maybe I can fungal. Nope.
And in general,
But
what
no.
we're seeing right now is that frustrating dynamic of dealing with the highly mobile muta. But
Yeah, my spore positioning could be a bit better too. That's one of the things. But I think I'm gonna move out at about 140, 150. I have a lot of infestors now. I think I have like 10. So there's gonna be a lot more fungos than last time. He's trying to fight my spores again, so I'm just gonna move out.
Alright, it's time to go, says Gosu User.
I don't need that base. And I'll leave a couple roaches back to defend along with my spines and spores, because that ling count looked like he could maybe try a counter to the ling muta. And yeah, we see some more bird banelings, but with an overseer it's no problem. Maybe he has a hidden base, but I don't think so, because if he did, I think he would have transitioned to infestors or something. And I think I can just base trade now if he goes for this counter he's doing. Still defend a bit with some roaches, but my army is so strong, there's no way that Mutalisk are going to kill this. And if there's Ling Baneling, I can fungal so many times. And like my third base is pretty fortified, I don't think he can kill it. Yeah, your games kind of like differentiate a lot based on what the other player does. After you take the third base and pressure a lot before the Mutalisk. Like this game, he just kept boning mutas and I killed his third twice. So it ended up taking a kind of strange route. Usually you don't end up in these situations. But you still kind of see how the opening works.
Yeah.
I'll go look for another base. Yep. The spines aren't gonna do anything though. I can just make infested Terrans.
Do you feel like you have enough hydras now that the mutas are no threat?
Yeah. And I have so many infestors too is the other thing. I can fungal a ton this time. Before I only had like 4 or 5 infestor with only a bit of energy. Now I have 10 with almost full energy. So infested Terrans and a lot of fungals would just help me beat them. And I'm using some infested Terrans here to help tank. Spines kind of suck at this point in the game. They can't do anything.
And there it is. The GG gets called. Gosu User manages to win a Heart of the Swarm ZvZ without building even a spire.
Yep. I hate Mutalisk. So.
Well, I think a lot of people share that sentiment in the current metagame. So maybe we can just kind of summarize the build. You go hatch first. You get a very quick Zergling speed and Baneling nest. You stay on hatch tech for a long time while getting your third base around 44 supply, around the point in the game when most people are starting their lair. You're taking your third. And then you just pile on the pressure with Zerglings until you feel like you're safe to transition.
As long as he's going mutas, then you pile on as much Baneling pressure. You have to have at least know he's going to pressure you or go mutas. Because if he's doing like a Roachling Baneling all in, then you want to try to scout that out and just defend against that and then you win. In this case, I scouted this super fast lair though with the 2 Lings. So then I knew instantly it was mutas. I guess he could have canceled and tried to Roachling Baneling all on me. But my pressure would have scouted it by then anyway. So.
All right. Well, we're going to take a very short commercial break, folks. When we get back, we're going to swap seats. I'm going to be the one playing the game. Gosu User is going to sit behind me and tell me what's up. And we'll see if I'm able to repeat the feat of beating Andre's Grandmaster level Zerg without building any mutas. I'm not feeling so confident, but we'll see what happens. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with this special Pulse strategy show.